Now, this prophecy, it comes through a dream that King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, has while he's sleeping one night. Verse 1 says, "Now in the second year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, Nebuchadnezzar had dreams," plural. You know how it is sometimes when you have a dream and you wake up and you go back to sleep and you go right back into that dream again. So he has dreams, and his spirit was so troubled that his sleep left him. So first of all, God speaks through the dream of a pagan king. That's something to note here. Although Nebuchadnezzar is totally unaware of it, God communicates his future plan for the world, for humanity, through a pagan king. Nebuchadnezzar, he's the most significant Gentile king in the Bible. He's mentioned over 90 times. On 3 different occasions, God refers to Nebuchadnezzar as my servant, God's servant. And I think we can take comfort in knowing that God can use ungodly leaders to accomplish his will in this world. Without that leader even being aware, they're being used by God to fulfill God's purposes. I think of the decree of Caesar Augustus in the New Testament. And that decree caused Joseph and Mary to travel from Nazareth to Bethlehem, where Mary gave birth to Jesus in fulfillment of the prophecy in Micah 5:2 that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. And here was Caesar Augustus in Rome giving this decree because he wants to tax the whole world. And little does he know, he doesn't know at all, that God is using that decree to get Mary to Bethlehem to fulfill prophecy. God can use any leader to accomplish his will. And God gives this revelation to Nebuchadnezzar through a dream. And later in the chapter, Daniel will receive a vision. And so in this chapter, we've got dreams and visions. Dreams and visions were not just in the Old Testament. We see them in the New Testament as well. For example, Joseph was warned in a dream to take Mary and the baby Jesus and flee to Egypt. Peter has a vision in Acts chapter 10 of a sheet coming down from heaven full of clean and unclean animals, and he hears the voice of God say, "Rise, Peter, kill and eat." Also in Acts chapter 10, Cornelius the centurion has a vision of an angel. Acts chapter 16, the Apostle Paul has the vision of the man in Macedonia. And so God speaks to people through dreams and visions in both the Old Testament and the New Testament. And in the New Testament, it happens pretty frequently. As you read through the Gospels, you read through the book of Acts, you see that it actually happens pretty often. God still speaks to people through dreams and visions, even still today. Now, of course, that doesn't mean every dream you have is a dream from God that you need interpretation and that it has special meaning or something like that. Some dreams are just dreams. Just the other night, I had a dream that I had a job, and my job was to go to every antique shop and inspect all of the antiques to verify that they were genuine antiques and not replicas. I don't think that was from the Lord. I think it was just a dream. I think I saw an ad for Antiques Roadshow or something like that, and then I had this job in my dream, and I hope it's not from the Lord. So some dreams are just dreams, but then other dreams, God is communicating through that dream. God still communicates through dreams and visions. In Acts chapter 2, verse 17, it says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, says God, that I will pour out my Spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." Especially in the last days, we're told. God will speak through dreams and visions. Here Nebuchadnezzar has this dream. It disturbs him. He can't go back to sleep. So verse 2, "Then the king gave the command to call the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans to tell the king his dream." So they came and they stood before the king. So this is kind of the brain trust of Babylon. These 4 groups of people were the advisors to the king, maybe like his cabinet. And these 4 groups, they claim to have special contact with the spirit realm. that gave them understanding of dreams. It was demonic, really. And he gathers together the wisest men in Babylon, hoping they can interpret his dream. In verse 3, and the king said to them, I've had a dream, and my spirit is anxious to know the dream. Then the Chaldeans spoke to the king in Aramaic. And you might want to underline that in your Bible. If you're a Bible nerd like me, beginning here in verse 4, all the way to the end of chapter 7, it's all in Aramaic, not Hebrew. And this section of the Bible is written in Aramaic, not Hebrew. Aramaic was the language of the Babylonians. So they say to the king in Aramaic, and by the way, again, another little Bible nerd thing for you, the Aramaic that's used in these chapters is consistent with Aramaic from the 6th century BC during the time of the Babylonian Empire. It's not consistent with Aramaic from the 1st century BC when these liberal critics who don't believe the Bible, don't believe in prophecy, say that it was actually written. That's just another little thing for you. That's not going to be on the final test. You don't have to worry about that. So they say in Aramaic, O king, live forever. Tell your servants the dream, and we will give the interpretations. Now, the Babylonians, these sorcerers and magicians, these wise men, they actually had books, like textbooks or manuals, that helped them to interpret dreams. And so you could tell them what you dreamed about, and they could kind of look it up in their manual and tell you the meaning or the interpretation of your dream. And so they say, well, tell us the dream. And we'll look it up in our manual, and we'll tell you what the interpretation of your dream is.